fight fans, you're watching Octagon Control MMA. I'm Dan. I'm going to do a video breakdown today of a fight that we're hoping to see come up in the new year. Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. I want to make one thing very clear, this fight has not been confirmed yet, but odds have been posted for it, which to my mind is close enough so we can get started with a video on it. Right, first off, I believe this whole beef between them, I don't think they're putting it on. I think if they are, they've done a fantastic job. And they deserve all the hype from it that they've got because they've done a great job of putting it on. Alright, first off, we'll talk a little bit about Colby, then Jorge. Then we'll do a quick side-by-side, then I'll say who I think's going to win. Alright, so Colby, 16-2, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions. Last 3 fights, so we'll just go through them first. Woodley, third round TKO. It was only a couple months ago, September 29th, I think. Rib injury in the 5th round, but Covington was definitely dominating that fight, no problems at all. Before that, Kamaru Usman, round 5 TKO loss. That's for the UFC welterweight belt, December last year, UFC 245. I think we should have kept that fight going. I think it was a very early stoppage. And from the scorecards I've seen, the verdict scores, I think Colby would have probably won on the judges' scorecards if that fight had gone to a decision, which it looked like it was headed for. I think it was a very bad stoppage. I mean, I'm not saying if the referee could have left it another 10 seconds and if that had carried on, then yeah, fair enough, stop it. But I didn't think it was worthy of a stoppage. There was talk a lot about Covington having a fractured jaw. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but if he's willing to keep fighting, it's not going to fracture again. So let him keep fighting as far as I'm concerned. Right, before that, Robbie Lawler, very impressive dominant decision win over the 5 rounds. Grappled absolute everything out of him. I think he had over 10 takedowns in this fight, but very dominant wrestling performance with that. But this isn't the Robbie Lawler of 5 years ago, or 20 years ago. He's been around a long time. But Robbie Lawler's definitely on the decline, and it is sad to see because he was one of my favourite fighters when I was a bit younger. Alright, Masvidal, moving on. 35-14, massive wealth of experience. 36 years old, bit older than Colby, who's only 32. 16 knockouts, 2 submissions, 17 decisions, which I think is interesting because a lot of people slag Colby off for being going to a lot of decisions, but he's 50-50 for stoppage and decisions. Masvidal's only a little bit over 50-50, 18-17 stoppages to decisions. So yeah, Masvidal's last fight was the Usman one back on UFC 251 Fight Island. Took this on very short notice. Had to cut, from the sound of it, at least 20 pounds of weight. Travel across the world. Get all this COVID testing sorted on 6 days' notice. Great hype, but it was a very, very boring fight. And I think that wasn't helped because we had Aldo Yan and Volkanovski Holloway 2 just before that, which were both much better fights. Everyone hypes that the pay-per-view did 1.3 million, and Masvidal seems to have taken a lot of credit for that. I question very much if it didn't have those 2 other title fights on, if it would have done anywhere near that much though. Usman is not a big draw on his own pay-per-view wise. He's not got a very entertaining style, with the exception of the Colby fight, because I think the wrestling of those 2 just cancelled each other out. But yeah, Masvidal, he did well to defend a lot of takedowns against Usman. Obviously, he did get taken down a few times, but he did a lot better than I thought he would takedown defence-wise. Unfortunately, he didn't get to show off much of his striking, and he was gassing towards the 3rd and 4th round, which on 6 days' notice, when you're cutting 20 pounds, is understandable, and I think everyone can let that one slide. Yeah, so before that, we had UFC 244. He fought Nate Diaz for the BMF belt, which I wasn't that big on the time. I thought it was just because, oh no, we haven't got a title fight for this one, we best stick something on it. But it was a great spectacle in the end. You had The Rock there giving him the belt. Disappointing decision with a doctor's stoppage, unfortunately. I mean, I don't think anyone really felt that should have been stopped. Nate Diaz has looked like that in a lot of his fights and kept going. But it's what happened. Masvidal handily won the first 3 rounds, so I haven't got a problem with him winning as such. I just wish the fight would have continued on a bit longer, and we could have seen how it ended on its own without the doctor's intervention. Right, before that we got the Askren win, if everyone remembers that, UFC. It's when John Jones fought Thiago Santos, I think 239, but I'm not 100%. We all remember that flying knee, 5 seconds, 2 follow-up punches, bang bang, fastest knockout in UFC history. Very impressive performance. Not much else to say on that one at all. Just great all-round performance. Askren went in for a takedown, as everyone knows he does. That's Askren's move. Masvidal was ready for that, flying knee. Yeah, great spectacle, and yeah, not great. Like I say, it lasted 5 seconds. John Anik had barely told us that Modelo was brewed for those with a fighting spirit before that fight was over. Right, now we'll just do a quick side-by-side. We've got striking, grappling, fight IQ, chin and gas tank. I'll assign 1 attribute to each fighter, and I'll talk a little bit about my reasonings for assigning those attributes. So we'll start off with striking. I've got to give this to Masvidal just because of his high knockout record. Colby's striking, I think, is very underrated because of his wrestling. I think people sleep on his striking a lot because he doesn't use it perhaps as much as he needs to. But against Colby against Usman, he showed that he can stand and bang with a world champion. And Usman, whether you find him boring or not, is a world champion. But Masvidal, lots of knockouts on his record. Few impressive ones. Darren Till won last year, February last year comes to mind. That's also where he had the 3-piece and a soda thing with Leon Edwards, which was interesting to say the least. Right, we'll move on to grappling next. Obviously Colby on this one. He's very dominant in the wrestling. If Masvidal has shown good takedown defence most recently against Usman, and he did quite well not to engage with Diaz on the ground when they fought. He also fought Damian Maia, who, while he's very good on the ground, doesn't necessarily have the best wrestling in the world to get people to the ground. So, yeah, grappling for Colby. Fight IQ, it's got to be for Colby on this one as well. He's just very technical. He doesn't rush for a finish, which I think some people do complain about. I'm not one of those people. I'll watch him fight 25 minutes any day of the week. I enjoy his style. I think he's very good at what he does, and I don't think he should be pressured into being more exciting in some people's minds just because that's what they think he should do. He has his game plan. He sticks to his game plan. Whereas Masvidal, he goes for a knockout as quick as he can, which is a very good way of winning a fight. But if that doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, as you can see by the 14 losses on his record. Worth mentioning that he has only been knocked out once, and he's only been submitted twice, but he has got 14 losses, whereas Colby's only got 2. So I think Colby's much better over the distance. Right, chin next. It's going to have to be equal on both of these. I mean, Masvidal's been knocked out once in 49 fights, and Colby carried on with a potential fractured jaw, I should say, against Kamaru Usman. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing between them on the chin. I'd be very surprised to see a knockout when we do fight. I think it'll be a drawn-out decision, personally, but I think it'll be a very exciting fight. Right, last but not least, gas tank. Got to go to Colby all the way on this one. That man is a cardio machine. Great fitness. He keeps his weight very low. I don't think he goes over 180, 185. comes into fight night under 180, keeps his weight at a manageable level, doesn't balloon up, and he's also got a lot of 5-round experience, whereas Masvidal doesn't. And most specifically, more recently, he went 5 rounds with Woodley, 5 rounds with Usman, 5 rounds with Lawler, and before that 5 rounds with RDA. These are very high level competitors, and he's gone 5 rounds all 4 of them. Right, so now who do I think's going to win? I'm going for Colby Covington by decision. I think it's going to be a long fight. I think Masvidal will have some success with his striking early on. I think he'll defend the first few takedowns. Covington might not even get a takedown in the first round. But I think definitely from the start of the second round, Covington's going to be on the ground, absolutely shredding him. And it's going to be really... I think it's just going to be a Chael Sonnen style ground and pound. You know, not necessarily looking for a finish, but doing damage, hurting the other guy. Not necessarily chasing a knockout, but being very dominant. And I could see, if I had to go for the scorecards, I'm going to say 50-44 Covington. And then 48-47 Masvidal on Chris Lee's scorecard. Because as we all know, Chris Lee watches different fights to everyone else and makes his own decisions. So that's a bit of a snide job, but Chris Lee should not be a UFC judge. If consistently 2 judges are giving it one way and the 3rd judge is giving it another way, the commissions have to look into why that's happening. The lack of accountability from the judges really winds me up. This is people's careers, livelihoods, and lives are essentially messing with here. I'm not saying they need to be grilled in the octagon after the fight, but there needs to be some sort of accountability for judges. Chris Lee was the one who said Paul Felder beat RDA about a month ago, and I don't think anyone who watched that fight believes that. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Like I say, not confirmed yet, but I'm very excited for it, and I hope it comes to fruition in the new year. Probably going to be a fight night main event, if not a co-main event on a pay-per-view, but I would prefer to see this over 5 rounds. I think 3 rounds would definitely benefit Masvidal more, but I think 5 rounds, what the fans deserve, what we all deserve, and what the fighters themselves deserve as well. Right, that's going to wrap us up for today. You've been watching Octagon Control MMA. I've been Dan. Have a great day.